great pleasure to welcome to the podcast this week. I have Ben from the band Whitechapel. Welcome, sir.
Hey, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. I was just saying before I hit record, we're going to talk about it in a moment, but the new album, Kin, loving it. Um,
Awesome.
but yeah, I mean, you guys, Whitechapel, you're releasing this album. It's coming out on the 29th of October via Metal Blade. And yeah, I can't remember what I don't have it written down, but what number album is this? It's like number 6 or 7.
Eight.
8. It's one
Eight, yeah.
off.
Mm,
So 8 albums in, and you hit us with this one, which is it's a killer album. Um, so just for the folks at home, it's called Kin. It's going to be available on the 29th. Go pre-save it. Go pre-order it. All that stuff. Because it is worth it. You've already hit us with 3 tracks off the album. You've got Lost Boy, a Blood-Soaked Symphony, and Orphan. Um,
hmm
those tracks are available right now for anyone that's interested that hasn't heard Whitechapel before or wasn't aware that they're releasing an album. So I just get the promo out of the way, you see. So, but tell
Yes.
it like we're just going to concentrate on that album because like your previous work is fantastic. I love it. Um, but I just really want to get to the core of this album. So what was your like what's this album about? What's the sort of like because I know a lot of your albums kind of follow various storylines and stuff like that, and you have a theme or a
hmm
concept. So what does Kin represent?
Kin is a continuation of the Valley story. Um, it talks about um, whereas the Valley was a true event story.
Yeah.
Um, this is more of a psychological thing that's happening inside Phil's
Okay.
head. So after the trauma caused by the events in the valley, he kind of manifested this other darker self. And throughout the record, it starts from when the evil self awakens, and then it kind of there's a battle between his real reality and the evil self, and that happens throughout the entire record in a linear storyline, starting from track one until the end. And how we did that was we wrote the music and then sequenced it out how it how we thought it should sound,
Mm.
and then Phil wrote the lyrics to the sequence to music. So it follows. It's just like like a play. It plays
Yeah.
like a a musical or
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I got that kind of vibe from it. Like listening to it through, I've had it on a few times in various situations, whether sat here in my I'm not going to say studio because it is a garage or garage. But I've had it on in my car as well, and in my headphones and stuff like that. And I've been walking around, and it does very much feel there is a kind of theatrical feel to it in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a vibe that I've got it written down in front of me, and it was just like having that. It could be because I've been watching a lot of the sort of like a lot of the shows that Netflix have been putting out recently, to be honest. And they've put
Mm-hmm.
out like Haunting of Hill House and Mass Midnight Mass and stuff like that, and they all feel very like as a whole like a theatrical production. I know they are in the core of it because it's an acting piece, but it feels like it could be a stage
Mm-hmm.
play. You know, you've written a very
Oh,
dark kind of a dark Phantom of the Opera, if you will. Yeah,
yes, I like that. Yeah,
to give it a kind of
yeah,
like give people a kind of a perspective on it, I guess, just to sort of like, you know, give them that it's not like a sort of like play it like a local players sort of like acting troupe. It is a big
yeah.
production. It sounds huge. It's got melody. It's got like aggression. It's just there's just some real beautiful parts in this album,
Mm-hmm.
and but it is just like contrast with some just downright darkness, I suppose is the better word. I was going to say
Yeah.
evilness, but evilness I don't think is a word. But yeah, no, definitely like getting that like feel of it, and I love the way it's been like. I mean, the production is amazing as well. I know you've got the same guy on there. He's been on the same couple of albums that you've done. Um, and the fact you got this done, I'm guessing you got this done during like the lockdown and things like that. Has that been a
Mm-hmm.
the sort of like era? Because a lot of like obviously albums. How long is this album? How long have you had your hands on this album for? Have you held on to it over lockdown, or
Oh,
is it?
since it's been done, we recorded the last note of the album in January this year.
Okay.
Then we mixed and mastered, but we started the album, working on the album a little over a year ago. Um, so actually started recording it a little over a year ago. Longer than that on the writing end of things,
Yeah.
but yeah, like lockdown, played a big part of it. We thought we never have this time ever again to work on something, so we took advantage of it. And
Yeah.
we also thought we might never. On the flip side, we also thought we might never tour again. That was in the back of our heads, so we're like, why not just go all out?
Yeah.
And we also had the story of the valley was kind of a like a benchmark
Yeah.
to follow. So it's we made the music, we tailored the music to fit sort of that that heavy subject matter and story that it needs,
Yeah.
that the valley story needs. So
Yeah.
yeah, we just try to make it as expansive, and to have Phil like be able to play more with his vocals.
Yeah. No, there's definitely like I say, there's definite moments of that of just sort of like I said before, like melody and just brutality of having those two combined. There's some track like "To the Wolves" is one of my favorite tracks on there.
Oh, good.
And
Yeah, I love that track,
yeah, it's
especially the bridge part where it
yeah,
just opens up.
yeah. No, it was great. I
Yeah.
listened to that in my car, and just like full blast, just like straight up. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's like obviously lockdown, like on a sort of on the psychological level, like where that sort of side came in, where writing that kind of like breakdown, if you will. Like obviously,
Hmm.
lockdown sort of inflicted that on a lot of people. Like it gave them time to think about or just think intent like inside because you spend a lot of time
Hmm.
alone or you spent a lot of time around the same people and you got bored with your surroundings and then start doing that thing of like going into yourself and then you can incarnate
Hmm.
various things that can come out of you. um
Yeah.
and do you think this album would have been possible if say that the pandemic didn't happen? Do you think this album would have been, I mean, it probably would have been different, but would it have been
Yeah.
the follow on still? Would it have been that continuation of story?
Yeah. It would have. Yeah, we would have continued the story, but I just don't. I think the music would have ended up a bit different. Like I feel like we wouldn't have gone to certain places like that we did, because we just had a lot of time, and we had a lot of time to focus our
Yeah,
intent, and just kind of see how far we can take it. Like if we had tours in between, we probably would have kind of written, I don't know, it would have been different. It wouldn't have
yeah,
had that deep deep level, or or the guitar layers. We probably wouldn't have had as many guitar layers and
yeah,
stuff, and the solos would have been different, because I probably would be more rushed to work on them, the acoustic guitar stuff. And yeah, so we put everything into the album. Like
yeah,
we spared no expense as far as layers, and you know um, just
yeah,
wanting to make it a world in
yeah,
itself. And we wanted, if it's a world, we want every detail to be very clear. And yeah, so the pandemic definitely helped us
cool,
focus more on the
yeah,
world.
cool. I mean, do you think this will like future albums? Anything like,
Uh-huh.
would this like what you've done with this album? Would it change compared to your previous albums? Would it change the way you make, say, the next album? Like, would you spend? Do you think you would spend as much time if you could, obviously, on
Hmm.
writing for the next? So I know we're talking about one that's just coming out, and I don't want
Yeah.
to talk about when's your next album coming out. But what I just want, like, do you feel it will change like your approach to that, or your band, the whole band as such? Would you think it will change their approach
Yeah,
compared to what you did this time?
I think so. Cause I mean, every album we learn from the previous one. So we just, so the next album after this one will be, we take what we learned from Ken and,
Yeah,
just, and apply it to, all the material we've been writing ever since the album, ever since we finished the record. So, um, we got, we're like always writing. So, we have a bunch of material to choose from.
okay,
And, a lot of it too is like how fans react to the music too. Like, people love like this certain style of song we did on the album, we might expand on it more.
yeah,
Like, with the Valley, with third depth, third depth. It was a cool, the contrasting, heavy chorus
yeah,
with the, melodic verses. We kind of expanded on that on this album with like songs like History Silent and
yeah,
yeah, that sort of stuff. So,
cool,
and like, When a Demon Defiles a Witch, like the Lost Boys, kind of a sister song to that. So it's, we just, so the next album, if people like a song like the title track Ken, we might, expand more on that and make it more, just with different twists
yeah,
to it, not like just a direct, just derivative of the song, just,
yes,
just go somewhere different.
yeah, yeah,
I guess
and
structure wise or riff wise.
did you have like, because obviously from the Valley story and to this one, did you have the sort of like story panned out already? Have you got like a sort of, a board, I guess a scene board or whatever, just sort of like panning out of this particular story of where you want to go, like say next time, or like from there, do you have you got like the sort of core of, the next chapter, I suppose is the
No,
word.
no, we don't. We didn't know what Phil's going to write about on this album
Okay,
until the music was done, and then he came up with the concept after. Because Phil, he likes to hear the songs completely done
okay,
before he starts working on lyrics.
yeah,
So like even, but we knew we wanted to continue the Valley story because we knew there's a lot of depth to that, and knew it was yeah, you could make a really cool album out of continuing that story. But
yeah,
yeah, even when we wrote the Valley, we didn't know Phil was going to write about
okay,
that. It was only after we wrote the music that he came up with the storyline. So for the next album, we don't know what it's going to be about. We
okay,
just we just have the music. We'll just have the music to go off of.
yeah, cool, cool. No, that's cool. I like, because it's kind of like almost improv as well, where it's kind of, you
It
don't know where
is,
it's
yeah.
going,
It's
which is
very
awesome,
improv.
because it's like when it
Hmm.
comes together, like these two albums. I mean, you can listen to them back to back, like from start to
Yeah,
and you'd get a
and
story.
that was the intent. Yeah, to after Doomwoods, the final track on the Valley, that was the hardest part. Just thinking about, okay, what sound do we want to hear next? And it took a year and a half of writing and stuff until we found the song. The main riff in the song "I Will Find You," which is the first track on the album,
Mm.
and that was actually the first song that was written for Ken
Okay,
because that's what we felt like the sound. That's what we felt like the sequel to the Valley should sound like. And
cool.
yeah, so once that first song was written, like it's got the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that's really cool. I love
so
that. Absolutely love that. And it, like I say, it's a great album. So everyone, 29th, go get it
mm,
just before Halloween. Um,
ooh.
but yeah, I've got a couple of questions left for you, Ben, if that's all right. And then I'll let you get on with the
Yeah.
rest of your day. So what I want to find out from you, these are kind of my sort of like generic standard questions, but with a slight sort of, I guess, a little bit of twist on them, I suppose, or one of them does. But
Yeah.
what I want to find out are your three most pivotal albums. So not your three best albums, or all time kind of. A lot of people have the sort of same top five, whatever. I want the one that kind of like the one that inspired you to pick up a guitar, the one that you heard and you wanted to be in a band, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Huh. Man. I mean, definitely. Uh, Probably Guns N' Roses' "Appetite for Destruction." I mean,
Yeah,
that was a big one. It's a big one for me.
yeah. I'm drinking from their cup right now.
There.
So.
Oh, nice. That's good. That's good. I remember the first album that kind of kind of took me back was really that first Rage Against the Machine album. Like I saw the album cover itself is like insane,
Yeah,
and yeah, and just I guess the song "Bomb Track" that was a really super heavy, heavy song,
yeah,
uh, and so yeah, like early records. Let's see, and probably yeah, like Led Zeppelin 4. That was a big one because that's very guitar heavy,
yeah,
very mystical sounding guitar riffs. That kind of like when you're a kid, it sounds like very mystical. Like
yeah.
Jimmy Page's riffs was really really cool. Um, but yeah, definitely those. I really love the early Metallica albums too,
Yeah.
and yeah, like Ride the Lightning.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just classic albums.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, you've picked like obviously being a guitarist yourself. You picked like those first three. Like you got Slash, you got Tom Morello, and then you got Jimmy
Yeah,
Page. And you just like three absolutely solid guitarists in different styles as well.
yeah,
Which obviously reflects in your style because like the style of Whitechapel is very kind of like I suppose is it deathcore? I think they described you as
mm-hmm.
along those lines. Obviously, and that's very different from those sort of like the
Yeah,
genres in particular those are from, but the guitar work, especially like Guns N' Roses and likes of Tom Morello, you morph Slash and Tom Morello, and you just you get something magical on that front.
yeah. It's like yeah, definitely take still a lot of influence from Slash's, like as far as like solos go. Like there's a direct like kind of a rip from one of the solo in "Sweet Child of Mine" on the solo in "I Will Find You." Um, and and like Slash's and Tom Morello's, just energy, just
Yeah,
heavy like riffing energy is, I feel like it's very influential on
excellent.
our stuff. And like Jimmy Page's like really mystical sounds like
Yeah,
really kind of influence like songs like "History is Silent" and the "Without You," that acoustic track.
yeah.
It's just
He's one to sort of like because obviously like they did a lot of like improv themselves in attaining a lot of the sounds back then. Like you hear legends
mm-hmm.
of how they set up the drum kit in the stairwell and stuff like that, and
Yeah,
mic'd up
for when
various
the levee
areas,
breaks.
push stuff downstairs, and all that kind of stuff, and messed with the like
Yeah,
valves in amps and stuff to make certain sounds happen and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah,
no,
yeah. The
that's
older, yeah, the older, I get, and the more records we make, I really like as far as like lead guitar stuff and acoustic stuff. Like it's all like kind of shooting from the hip. Like I,
yeah,
I really don't have it planned out. Um, I have it like a basic, structure or outline, but I, I like that nervous just energy that's just kind of that improv because it's just like there's something there that would be that would be lost, if you just kind of overthought about it, and just kind of were too critical. Sometimes it's just got to be just like just shooting from the
yeah,
hip.
yeah. Always,
Yeah,
there's yeah, you've got to experiment. You've got to do something. There's got to be that moment of even if it doesn't work, you've done it, and you can try
yeah,
again. And it's all about failure. That's what it is. It's
yeah.
all about the failure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because once you get it right, you don't do
Oh
it
yeah.
again. But if you get it wrong, you do it again. You keep doing it until you get it the way you want it. And
Yeah. I mean, you should see all the extra material we had, that just didn't, make the cut. Yeah, like hundreds and hundreds of riffs that were just,
Yeah.
that we went through, and we were just like, oh well,
No. Another
guess
time.
no one liked that one.
Nope.
Yeah.
You never know. You'll go back to them one day and you'll find out it's the $1 million riff.
There's a couple riffs on the album that are old, are like 10 years old. Like I guess
really?
the chorus in Blood Soaked Symphony
Oh, wow.
and the verse riff in Anticure. That's a very old riff. But yeah, those are like the two. The rest of it's like fairly newer material.
Excellent, excellent. Well, my final question for you, Ben, is what are your hobbies away from music? So when you're not doing stuff for Whitechapel or writing music in general, do you have anything else that you kind of that's yours that you kind of what sort of if you ever need to sort of like separate yourself from the music for a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just work in the garden. We
Yeah.
got, we have nice little garden and some plants back there, and you know, make sure the yard looks good. I don't want it to look like a damn crack house
No,
up in here. So,
no. You got a homeowners
it's
association
just,
where you are,
uh, yeah. Well, actually, yeah, you don't want it to look like, my God, don't. Oof.
No, don't. No,
Keep an eye on those guys. Yeah.
I used to live in Florida, and where we lived had a homeowners association, so we had to keep our grass certain length, everything
Oh
tidy.
yeah.
Your driveway kind of jet cleaned and whatnot on a regular basis. So yeah, I know what that's like. It's fun because some days you just I can't cut the lawn today, but it's getting too long.
Yeah.
Then it gets too long to cut, and you spend longer doing it. Anyway.
Oh yeah, you gotta lift up make the make the blade. You can't like cut it like super low. Yeah.
Nope, you have to go over it a couple of times to get it just right.
Yeah.
But cool, Ben. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. Good luck with the album. Everyone, again, it is out on the 29th of October. It is on Metal Blade. It is Whitechapel, and the album is called Kin. Go pre-save it. Is there a pre-save link on your site? Do you know if there is yet? Or
yeah, like whitechapelband.com. Yeah, I think
yeah.
we got links to where you could pre-order it.
Awesome. People, go do that. Go do. But yeah, no, thank you again, Ben. I really appreciate it. And like I said, good luck with everything. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Cool. You too. Thanks, Barney.
Thank you, mate. Bye-bye.